Ladies and gentlemen, on the ring stage in about 5 minutes time, we'll be kicking off with day 4 of Mondial Tech 2018. Remember, we have again another packed day full of insights, full of panel discussions, pitches, startup ideas, concepts, and pretty much everything in between. So right now, if you've already had your coffee or you're having your coffee right now, come on over, take a seat, get comfy, and we'll be kicking off in the ring stage in about 5 minutes time. Mondial Tech 2018.
By the musical invasion of America by the world's hottest recording group.
Good, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Ring Stage Day number 4. We have been on this stage throughout the week. We have had many people stand here, share their experiences, their insights, tips. We've heard lots and lots of startups share their big ideas as well. And today, I tell you what, today is no different at all, because today is all about this morning is all about electrification and hybridization as well. This afternoon, our theme this afternoon, in fact, is connectivity and ITS. But right now, we'll kick off with our first theme. Just a few things before we begin. Just to remember, we have our hashtag #MondialTech, and basically, did you know, we're actually on fire. Well, we're not on fire. The hashtag is on fire. On social media, we are apparently trending, not just in Paris, but certainly most of France as well, in terms of tech and all things to do with tech as well. And we keep that going. So please, photographs, images, selfies, quotes, whatever you have to share from this event that we have just once a year. So it's not something that happens every day. Let's make the most of it and share the ideas that we have here as well. Also, remember, for those of you who wish to have the session in your native language, you can just simply use the translation service. Really, really simple, really, really easy. All you have to do is download the app. You can see the information there. Just take a quick picture of that, and that'll show you exactly what to do. And then pop over to the left at the entrance there, and from our hostess, she'll be able to give you earphones, headphones, and you can listen to every single word from the stage from your mobile phone. Very, very simple indeed. And also just remember, everything that we have here on stage right now here in Paris doesn't just stay here in Paris. It's actually beyond borders. It's live streaming. We've got this going on Mondial Tech website, I believe on YouTube as well. So you can pop onto that, or just maybe perhaps share that link with partners, colleagues, other people that you feel might benefit from what happens here throughout the day here on the Ring Stage. You can help them out, and they can join us. They can almost as if they were with us in the room themselves. Okay, let's move on to the theme, the first session of the theme of this morning, electrification and hybridization. To what extent and to what speed? Now, two gentlemen who are going to stand on stage and have a healthy, productive conversation and present some ideas as well. By the end of what they share with you, I'm sure you have a better understanding and more of a better insights as to the path forward. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage first gentleman who's going to share with you his insights. Senior Manager in Electrification Technologies and Energy Optimization from Peugeot Citroën, Mr. Nicolas Leclerc. Nicolas, welcome. And with Nicolas as well, please welcome to the stage Global Director of Product Management at Driveline Systems, Magna Powertrain at Magna International, who again, remember, is our sponsor and our supporter for this session and all the whole complete morning as well, Mr. Walter Sackel.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to introduce this session dedicated to electrification. Peter, Walter and I want to give you some highlights on these problematics, and we will explain you all that we know around what is the main stakes of electrification and hybridization. So, to begin, I have to take the... this session was around 3 main questions. We see that OEMs across the globe increase their investments into electrification and hybridization, and some questions are important to answer. Will the environmental gain justify the level of investment required to develop all these technologies and the charging infrastructure related? First question. Are electric vehicles and hybrid transmissions the ultimate solution for the 21st century? Another interesting question. And to what extent and what speed do we need these mobility solutions to develop in order to meet these expectations? So we will try to answer these 3 questions. I hope so. And for beginning, I will let the floor to Walter.
Yeah, many thanks and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to outline what's going on in the industry. First of all, What are the triggers with respect to introduction of electrification? It is for sure CO2 regulation. It all comes down to the legislation in the specific countries, which triggers innovation. Autonomous driving functions also seen and assistant driving function will impact the powertrain of the future. That's also clear. Tremendous changes are ongoing, which ultimately will lead us to new powertrain architectures within these global platforms, which are actually very large, but will be different, completely different in future. When we look to the governmental regulations, it all, I would say, started to be confirmed with electrification here in Paris. I would say 2016, the year where the Paris Convention decided on a significant reduction or limitation of the global warming, and all global countries signed off to that. This is really the trigger towards electrification, and there will be nothing seen beside that in future. First of all, Europe for sure, significant reductions outlined. Here I have to say and admit it's already a bit outdated. 2030, the estimate here is down by 40%, which was outlined, I guess, yesterday by the Europeans, which comes down to a technology across the fleet, which should get to a level of about 51 gram per kilometer CO2 emission. That's a significant impact also towards the strategies of vehicle makers. At the end, then, we have China, which also is fully committed to that strategy and these reductions. You see those figures. However, US might be a bit different, maybe delayed by at least one life cycle. So ultimately, Europe and China makes up more than 70% of the global market of vehicle production. So these two will define the future standards for electrification. Why these future targets? What was the idea of these reductions? The ultimate goal, it's not finished with these numbers outlined here on the legislation roadmap. The ultimate number is to get down to 50 gram per kilometer CO2 emission for the mobility of these vehicles. Why this 50 gram? It's representing the well-to-wheel emission of a bicycle, and it's human being which rides on that bicycle. So around about 14 gram CO2 emission of that human being is CO2 emission of this human being by breathing air. And the other remaining element, well-to-wheel, is all about the food, which this individual needs to get in order to drive that bicycle. So this is the ultimate goal, the long-term goal, outlined by the convention, 2016 here. So at the end, it will not be turned back. The solutions selected in order to commit to these global standards are different, but they are all electrified because we need to regenerate energy. The regeneration of energy is the one which is needed in order to ensure that these global standards are met. How about the distribution of technologies? A good question, and here you see our Magna forecast with respect to the future penetration. How do we calculate these forecast numbers? It's, I would say, easy, because in order to comply to the legislation, you need to ensure that the cost of the vehicle across the fleet is the lowest. So in the particular segments, you can select several technologies. However, at the end of the day, the consumer will select the lowest cost. The consumer will decide towards the lowest cost, and the share in the specific segments of technology is a bit different. So at the end, this share calculated here in 2025 and also the expectation for 2030 is calculated based on a share to get to the lowest cost of the vehicle's fleet. So you see around about 5% in 2025. That sounds not that much, but considering around about 95 million vehicles produced annually in 2025, a 5% battery electric vehicle share is a lot. It needs significant new investment, all new investment, I would say, and all the other elements like mild hybrid and also PHEV is there in order to ensure that the legacy in the product model lines is still supported with attractive new technologies in order to meet those governmental regulations. So at the end, the government and the legislation is the trigger. However, it opens us a wide field of new innovative functions. So with electrification, we have a bright new future with new functions. However, it started to turn out to be very complex. So in the history, the business of powertrain architectures was very much dedicated to around about 6 architectures, limited number and limited complexity. Ultimately, maybe in 2040, 50, we will end up with pure electric drives only. So on the right-hand side, these architectures, maybe 3 or 4. However, in this transition phase, we are now facing a number of complex versions from mild hybrid architectures towards plug-in hybrids and finally to battery and hydrogen electric vehicles. So the complexity which we need to manage during the next decades is a tremendous one. How to do that? Good question. Today, when you look on the road, the scalability of the different versions of vehicles are very much dedicated to the scalability of the powertrain and the ICE. So the internal combustion engine has a number of versions in order to meet all the segments and different targets of our customers and consumers. In future, it will be different. So the ICE will be reduced in its complexity and also in the number of versions. So, for example, here, in order to meet all the future expectation in a platform, it's just one engine, very simplified. However, in order to still meet the different segments and targets, the complexity is now seen and scalability is now seen in the electric machine. So it changes the world and ultimately it will open us new functions. So it starts then here with a standard ICE arrangement and all the key attributes of a car: power, CO2, gradability, vehicle performance, and so on. If we add now the lowest level of electrification, 48 volt, on the front axle here, it adds for sure or improves CO2 emission. However, it doesn't change a lot on the other. So this car will reduce CO2 by 20%, but the behavior in terms of the consumer and the handling in terms of the consumer is quite the same. If we move forward and we put in the PHEV number, you see also a significant reduction furthermore in the CO2 emission, especially by, with this electrified energy in the battery, you have pure electric drive functions. So around about 30 to 80 kilometer pure electric drive feasible. However, it changes also handling by the consumer. So there is a plug, but also you need to refill fuel. If you move the same electric machine to the rear, it opens complete new functions. So you achieve a very similar level on CO2 reduction. However, it opens a new play field in vehicle dynamics. And this is what I mean with electrification is dedicated to new functions. It opens pure electric drive functions. It opens the ability on other comfort and also vehicle dynamics attributes to improve. Finally, if we combine both, we have this super sporty car with a very tiny ICE engine. And you can do a lot with such kind of a car, and it's an amazing experience to drive such kind of technologies, because it now really opens a new play field also in terms of the consumer behavior. So at the end, yeah, the new platforms will be modular and scalable in order to achieve a significant share of electrification. It will change the mindset, and it's very much dedicated to new functions. With that, please.
Thank you. So you explained us how large was the possibility of electrified architectures and then the complexity made by these large numbers of solutions. I would like to come back on why do we have to go on electrification. And just a few keywords to understand that. We are in a moving context with a lot of change in our society. The first one, we have a lot more and more urbanization. We have some climate and energy concerns. Everybody knows that. And our customers, we have new needs or new features in which we are interested. So we are in a moving context with a lot of uncertainty. Why electrification? Everybody knows about that. We have a worldwide movement to reduce CO2 and pollutants emissions for many reasons. Health, of course. Oil program depletion. Energy independency. I could say other things. And then that's why we can see this state decision around the implementation of low emission zones in city centers. We have this regulation around CO2. You have heard about this 40% figures for 2030. And all around the regions, you can see this huge decrease of CO2 emission. Same thing for pollutants. The Euro 4, 5, 6 regulation are here for that. And there is also a worldwide mobility increase with new use of the car. We are facing also a transformation of energy systems with more and more renewables, etc. So we are facing this context, and electrification is an answer for that. To explain in more details, here you can see all the classical, I call that the classical solutions to reduce CO2 emission. It goes from reducing the electrical consumption on board, have a better thermal management, have a better efficiency of the conventional ICE, internal combustion engine, have some works on losses, rolling resistance, aerodynamics. But if you look at all these classical solutions, we are at the end of this story because we only save few grams of CO2s, and these grams of CO2s are very expensive, very expensive. That's why electrified solutions allows various levels of CO2 savings and furthermore much higher than classical technology. Here you can see on the picture the main solutions for electrification. Walter already talked about that. From mild hybrid to EV, you can save from 10% until 100% of CO2 with non-rechargeable or rechargeable solutions. And this architecture offers the customer partial to full zero emission range. So here to illustrate again the wide possibilities and then the complexity. To show you how strong will be this movement, I can share with you these figures built by the PFA, Plateforme de l'Automobile, which is the French Association of Automotive OEMs and Suppliers. And we work together to build some scenarios in order to understand what can be the future in terms of technology mix and in terms of energies. We use 4 scenarios. this the green constraints scenario, the green growth scenario, a stagnation scenario, a liberal world scenario. These scenarios are under two drivers. First one, economic growth, and the second one, the environment regulation pressure. And if you see the forecast until 2030 or 2035, you will see here that depending on the scenario, we will have an increase of the vehicles sales, but it's not the more interesting thing. We will have a full change of the energy and architecture mix. If you look at the current situation, mainly all the vehicles are purely combustion engines. If you see the forecast for 2030, you will see the full color around 50% of vehicles which can be electrified, either mild hybrid, PHEV, or EV. It's enormous. And once again, we will have to choose between all the architectures described by Walter. So to end this presentation, I try to come back on the three questions we have at the beginning of the presentation. Will the environmental gain justify the level of investment required to develop this technology and charging infrastructure? I think that we cannot avoid electrification now. Electrification is the most efficient solution and maybe the most efficient also in terms of cost to reduce the environmental impact of cars. I think this question is clear. Maybe if you want to add something, Walter. Second question, are electric vehicles and hybrid transmission the ultimate solution for the 21st century? For this question, I would say it's more complicated. We cannot only consider electrified cars. We have to consider the whole chain and the whole value chain. Electrical cars will have to be implemented into a whole ecosystem. In this ecosystem, we will find all the energy systems, including the way to have green electricity or green hydrogen. We will need charging infrastructures. Of course, it's a very important point. On this charging infrastructure, we will need services or smart charge solution to save the electric energy. We will need a huge improvement of technology, especially on the battery side, but not only, also on the powertrain architectures and so on. We will need the deployment of renewables to have this green electricity or green H2. And we will also have to develop all the circular economy to provide all the raw materials which will be involved either in battery or either in electrical motors. So it's not so simple to reduce the stakes only to vehicles and electrical vehicles. We need to have a wide look on the complete ecosystem. And to what extent and to what speed do we need these mobility solutions to develop in order to meet these expectations? In fact, it's very difficult to answer because speed and extent will depend on many drivers. First, driver regulations, incentive. I come back again on the announcement of European Parliament about this 40% reduction until 2030. It is a very important driver. 40%, and it will be a huge challenge for all the automotive industry to reach this target. Of course, don't forget that we are building cars for our customer, and the customer behavior and the customer choice will be a huge driver toward this technology. Third driver, technologies and their cost. As you know, for the moment, electrification technologies are still expensive, and we have altogether OEM and suppliers to work on how to decrease this cost to have a competitive offer. And last but not least, I already talked about that, deployment of infrastructure, especially for chargeable vehicles, is very important because it's a key condition to have a very wide use of either EV or PHEV. Do you have something to add, Walter? Or
Yeah, I also can confirm. So there is no way around electrification, mandatory. However, the consumer will decide on the level of electrification.
of course.
And at the end, we make the consumer happy with new functions. And it's a bright future with all these new functions.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And to end, Peugeot Brand has proposed a bridge between yesterday and tomorrow, this e-legend concept. I invite you to see it in real on all number 1. It is a very nice car. Thank you very much, and have a nice time in this session.
Yes, that is the sound created by the musical invasion of America by the world's hottest recording group.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off now on our next session this morning. Remember our theme of this morning, electrification and hybridization, and also sponsored and supported by Magna, our sponsor for this session. Remember, we have 8 themes, so throughout the week, we've been delving right into deep dive, right into different themes, 8 different themes. Right now, our session, as I say, electrification and hybridization. A little bit later on, it's all going to be about connectivity and ITS this afternoon. Right, our session right now is basically we're just going to move a little bit forward, go a little bit deeper from what we've heard already this morning, and really all about what's next, what the next steps are, what's going forward, and our panel discussion, our panel are going to really go straight into that subject. And again, by the end of it, you'll be able to have more insights as to really what is happening next. As you can see on the screen, these are our panelists. Please welcome to the stage, first of all, Director of Core Engineering at Magna Powertrain, Magna International, Mr. Thomas Hackel. Please join us, Thomas. Take a seat anywhere you like. It's up to you. We also have Senior Manager at MHP at Porsche, at the Porsche company, Mr. Günther Höhn. Günther, please join us. Also, Managing Director at Hyundai Motor France, Lionel French-Kio. Please join us. And the person that's going to shape this this conversation in the right manner, in the right direction as well, somebody we've already seen, delightfully seen here on the stage already this week. Please welcome to the stage from Deloitte, Director at Deloitte, Sarah Noble.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Morning.
Just for everyone's knowledge, Damien from Paris is going to be joining us a little bit later. So you might see him pop on stage a little bit through our session this morning. But we're excited to have him if he can join us. I'm going to ask who we have joining us so far to give us a bit of an introduction. And actually, I'll go to my right to start. So Lionel, can you give us a bit more about yourself?
Good morning to all of you. I'm Lionel French-Kio. I'm in charge of, let's say, sales and marketing for Hyundai in the French market. And let's say having the chance to have now many electrified cars to be sold in the French market and to find the best way to find a customer for this product.
And Günther, can you tell us a bit more?
Okay, I'm Günther Höhn. I'm coming from MHP, maybe a not so well-known company here. We are an 80% Porsche daughter working in management and IT consulting, and especially why I'm here, we are bringing the charging infrastructure to your home.
Thank you. Welcome, Thomas.
So, good morning. My name is Thomas Hackel. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from Magna Powertrain, from the development of e-drive systems, and I would like to bring in the view of the development in this discussion.
Fantastic. So we're here to talk more about exactly where do we see things speeding up. So obviously electric has come to the table. If you walk through the Mondial de l'Auto this week, it is all about electric. So where do we see investments increasing? And really kind of what justifies this investment that we're starting to see across the board? And actually, if you don't mind, Lionel, I will start with you from the OEM perspective.
Basically, I'll say now all the governments, they have defined a kind of goal to be reached. They say zero emission car, or zero emission mobility. And finally, as an OEM now, we have to follow this direction, obviously as soon as possible. And the pressure is let's say, strong at the moment, on top of the fact that we have also the pressure of journalists and everyone now to be able to be, let's say, more respectful related to environment. And this is one of the reasons why, obviously, we are investing such a huge amount of money on electrification at the moment.
Interesting. And Thomas, I recall legislation plays a part in what you're doing in terms of the more of the engineering and technology development.
Exactly. So the main driver for sure is the legislation. In front of all the CO2 regulations in the European Union and China mainly, but also local legislations like zero emission zones in cities like in Europe and also in the USA. That's the main driver for us and defines the size of electrification, because we are talking about hybridization and we have to define how many kilowatts we want into the car, what the customer wants. And we are talking about pure electrification, and how much we need for that is mainly driven by the legislation. But there's also a driver from customer demands. So we have the autonomous driving function. They need a lot of electrification, and this is driving each other a little bit. So there are two trends going in that direction from our point.
Günther, do you see, how are you kind of advising your clients on this side? So from a customer perspective, are they pulling that, or?
Oh, I would say next year the VW Group will bring a lot of new cars which are only electric driven. So we need a big infrastructure change here, at least in Germany, so that you can charge your car at home. You can use your maybe photovoltaics energy to charge your car, and we are currently taking care that all these systems are existing in time when the cars will be on the market.
And speaking to infrastructure, do you find that is one of the biggest barriers that we're feeling to adoption?
I think the biggest barriers, at least for customers, is the amount of kilometers they can drive with one charge, with charging once their battery. And this is the biggest hurdle, at least at the moment. And this will change with the new cars coming up next year. And then it will be the question, where do you want to charge your car? And I guess it will be at home, because during the night your car is in your garage usually, and you have plenty of time to recharge it every night. Very simple.
Interestingly, I'm going to pause us for one moment. Damien has joined us. Damien, if you'd like to pop on stage with us, we welcome you. Thank you very much. Welcome. So, Damien, while you get settled, I'll ask Lionel, do you feel the same way? Is it the range is really holding things back?
No, I don't think so. At the moment, yes. We need to convince people, thanks to the range, that okay, they can jump into EV cars. But in fact, when you look at the way people are using cars, EV cars at the moment, they don't need to have this wide range. I mean, I'm driving an EV car every day. The range at the moment is close to 500 kilometers, but I'm doing 10 kilometers per day. I mean, I can drive my car without charging it for months, which is useless. But this is a kind of paradox. To be able to convince people, we have to extend the range. But the way the people are using the car, this range is useless. So for me, to work on the range is just first step. The second step will be, okay, to have small cars with small range, which are fitting with the way people are using that car on a daily basis. Because at the moment, EV cars are the second car of people, for most of the people who are using EV at the moment. Let's say the most used car, but the second car of the family. Not the car you will use to go on vacation or for trips. And to fit with these requirements, I'd say we have to provide different cars. But yes, at the moment, from a short-term point of view, range is important, but not for the future.
Fascinating. Damien, I'm going to pause and let you introduce yourself briefly. We've just shared kind of role, but also a bit more about why this topic is of interest.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Paris is a small company developing and launching next year an electric sports car. And our philosophy is to make very simple and light cars. By doing that, we are able to down the weight, and so we need less battery to do the same jobs as other EV makers. So for us, there is a challenge, which is in fact a triptych. If we want to sell a lot of electric cars, we have to improve three things at the same time. We have to improve the range, we have to improve the numbers of loading points, and we have also to improve the time to load the battery. And each point is dependent of the two others. So today it's quite easy to sell electric cars to early adopters. But if we want to sell electric cars everywhere, we really have to manage those 3 points. And each point has its own challenges. Improving the battery is a slow process, and at the same time, it's very complicated to really decrease on the long term the cost of production of the battery. If we want to improve the loading station, we have to do it everywhere at the same time. And every 5 years, we may have to change the power of load. So it's complicated to put money in that. We think that between now and we are selling cars to early adopters and tomorrow, and when we will be able to sell electric cars to everybody, we bet on a solution that is called the range extender. So you put like a generator in the car, so you can use the car every day with electricity, and in case, you can use this hybrid system for longer range.
Now that's fascinating, and I think Thomas, working on the powertrain side, do you feel the technology is there?
The technology for the e-drives is there, but we have the problems you mentioned already. The infrastructure, of course, is a limiting factor, and for the customer to buy it, it's the driving range and it's the price, finally, driven by the battery size and price as well. So, but the e-drives itself, it's mature, so it's available. And we have to also mention we have the hybridization. That's a big part of the electrification. And there we already meet the customer demands. There, at least from a functionality point of view, so you don't have the driving range problem because you have a combustion machine in there. The only problem here is the price. For a big market penetration, the price is too high. And the solution we can provide is a 48-volt board net. That's lower voltage with less costs for the car and can be easily implemented into existing vehicle architectures. And this will be a technology for many years to provide what the customer needs until we really have these quite simple architectures with purely electric drives.
And what do you think needs to happen for that tipping point? So you've talked about cost, you've talked about just that wider adoption. So Günther, from your perspective, where will we hit that tipping point and what will kind of solve it?
So I guess we have to take the fear of people about an empty battery, and this is just providing charging infrastructure everywhere. And I don't think if a range extender in the car is really the solution to that. And I guess if you look about how charging infrastructure is developing today, it's started, but the tripping point maybe is in 1 or 2 years when everybody believes that we have enough charging infrastructure around motorways and everybody has his charging infrastructure at home.
So Lionel, earlier in the room we were talking, and dates ranging from 2020 to 2024 were put out as the kind of tipping point time frame. Would you agree with that or disagree?
So we have to, let's say, to split, let's say, the technology. For hybrid, I would say 48 volts or let's say real hybrid. Most of the car will be hybrid soon, simply because this is the simplest way for us as OEM to reduce CO2 emission and to achieve the 2020 target we have to achieve at European level. So this will happen without any kind of constraint for the customers because there's no issue related to range. So this will be simple, and for most of new car, it will happen, no issue. For EVs, first of all, we think that not all the customers will drive an EV car. This is not adapted to all the customers, so part of the customers, obviously. And to find a solution, let's say, to develop really this, I will exclude, I will say, the impact of our government, because something I cannot control. But let's say, to reduce the price is the key points at the moment. Because when we look at what happened in the market, in the French market at the moment, 90% of the people who have an EV car, they are loading the car at home. So outside infrastructure is not a big deal at the moment, even if in France we have 22,000, let's say, charging stations. So this is not bad at the moment. But for me, price is key. And many makers are talking about the reduction of the price of the battery, but depending on the survey, nothing will happen very soon, meaning that finally we'll not have big volume of EV cars on the road before 10 years. The only way to reduce the price is to reduce the size of the battery. I mean, this is the only way. To have lighter car, to have car with a smaller range, because this is adapted to the way people are driving their car. I mean, we are not, unfortunately, we are not going on holidays every day or every week. Most of the day we are going to work, to handle the family and so on. So we don't need to have 500 kilometer range on our car on a daily basis. So to fit the technology with the usage of the car is the key for everyone to be able to, let's say, multiply the number of customers who can drive an EV car. And for me, we need to have an EV car at 15,000 euros, even if the car has only 100 kilometer range. This is enough for daily, let's say, daily operation. Another car for vacation is probably another discussion, and we think that there's other technologies, hydrogen for us, for example, which could fit also with these requirements.
So it sounds like not just the technology and development needs to change, but potentially how we're interacting with the end customer. So that consumer that wants to think about, you don't have to buy a car with a 500 kilometer range because you don't actually need it. Any views on how we get them to engage with that and share that view and understand the benefits to them and the limits? Timmy, I don't know if you have any perspectives as you look to launch.
As there are those challenges about electric cars, and everything is in the end related to the costs. Of course, there are a lot of new business models, a new way to pay when you drive for 5 kilometers, car sharing, and on top of that, we all are very aware of the development of autonomous drive. I would say that it's very hard to predict with all those parameters in which way it will really evolve, because there will be light cars with a very pragmatic and economical solution, and you will have very big and ambitious projects. As we are a very small company, we are very confident in the fact that we can provide small city cars or small sports cars, and for that there is a way to earn money and to have cheap cars. For the other things, for us it's way too unpredictable to see how it will evolve. And for us, range extender is not an opposition of loading station. It's just a way to sell cars, electric cars, to people who would not buy it normally. We've been selling cars for 10 years, and 90% of people would like to buy an electric car, but just in case, sometimes they have to go to the south of France, then they won't buy it. And this is just an adaptable solution for some years.
How do we see the role of some of these new disruptors coming in? So to change topics for a moment, or change direction, we are seeing more and more different startups, disruptors coming into this market and changing how consumers are engaging, but also how technology is developing. Gunther, from your perspective, how is it changing how you are doing development, business, or is it changing the approach you see?
At least in my area, I don't see so much changes here coming from these disruptors, but I think looking, for example, at Tesla, if Musk would not have done what he did, I think it would be a different story today.
Interesting. And Thomas, have you seen anything different?
Yeah, for sure the approach of these companies is a little bit different, but we also see that the traditional OEMs are really now focusing their energy and their investments into electrification, and they are really able to provide platforms, global platforms. They are experienced in that. They know how to do it modular and scalable to adapt to the needs of the markets. So, and that will be a big advantage in the race from my point of view. So for me as a developer, it doesn't make so much difference, of course, for the components.
And I think we see more and more, actually, our traditional OEMs actually engaging with some of these new disruptors to the market. Do you see Hyundai starting to move or moving more in that direction?
So for me, the arrival of this company, is small or big, whatever, at least has pushed all the traditional OEM to speed up, let's say, what they have to do. In this sense, it was useful globally. After that, at the moment, let's say there's no example of success, real success. We are talking a lot about Tesla, but at least from a financial point of view, this is not yet a success. This is a good brand. Probably they have nice factories for battery, but it was, let's say, a way for Mr. Musk also to create a kind of mess in the market and to make us move. But now when you look at what all the OEMs are doing at the moment, including Hyundai, we have already 2 EV cars on the road, and many of our competitors now are showing also new products which will arrive soon in the market. And we are specialists of EV industry. I mean, we know how to build a car and how we can earn money with the car we are selling, which is probably a bit different than all the others, these small companies which are arriving in the market, because they are not EV industry specialists at all. And our industry is very different than software industry at the end. This is probably one of the reasons why this is not so easy to enter in these big battles at a global level, on top of the fact that there are so many different regulations toward the world to face as an OEM, because you plan to sell cars in Europe, US, in India, or in Russia, or in Asia. You have to find so many different regulations everywhere, not only related to CO2 or safety, that this is a nightmare when you are not able to do huge volume. And this is where we are good as, let's say, a traditional OEM.
So we've covered off the interesting technology changes we needed. We need costs to go slower, but we still need to go faster. We have disruptors helping with that. But will we see this speed up? Damien, did you have a further thought? Apologies to share microphones, appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, in fact, it was what I was about to say about disruptive technology. For dozens of years, car makers have been doing cars at large scale, and we always had some small car makers for niche applications. And today what is interesting is that there are new processes, new technology, like new kind of composites to decrease the weight, 3D printing, and all those new technology are very efficient to decrease the weight. And those new technology are as easy to handle for big makers and for small players like us, because it's brand new. And if you have the right marketing strategy to make low cost and to make it acceptable, then this disruptive technology can go on the market in a very fast way, in a faster way, I would say, because we can make simple car. We are not able to make a BMW or Audi or this kind of cars. But with this new technology, with a real decrease of the weight, we can have a lower cost battery because we use less lithium, less cobalt, and in the end, compared to 20 years ago, small players can be competitive not only on very small niche market, but maybe on larger market. So it's a good way to transfer new technology in a fast way, small companies.
And Thomas, do you feel that pressure for speed?
Absolutely. So the pressure for speed starts in the development phase. We are 5 years earlier than the market introduction, starting with pre-developments, and the pressure is high. And we see changing demands still, so the regulations are not clear. There are coming up local regulations every day that change the market demand, and we have to adapt to that. And the answer is global platforms that are modular and scalable to adapt to the needs. That will increase the speed. So we start development before we definitely know what exactly the market needs. that's a big challenge.
I'm not sure I can quite imagine having to react that way, but well done. So what's next, right? So I think we see electric becoming more, but what will be the next big thing that we see coming to market? Is it everything we talked about, which is infrastructure will be there, truly mass market, everyone electric, or is there something else that we see coming and being a change point? I'll start with Damien because he looks quite excited with that question, but I'm keen for everyone's views on this one.
Yeah, in fact, today we communicate a lot about CO2 emission when you drive the car, but we don't have a precise idea of the CO2 emission when you make the car and when you recycle it or when you break it. So we do it for many products, and we will probably do it for cars tomorrow. And one of the big breakthrough we think is about taking everything into account about burners, malice, and ecological equation. That can be a big thing.
And Gunther, is electric going to be the solution?
Electric drive is the solution. The question is battery the solution? Or is there something even better than battery, like fuel cells or something like that?
And do you think we'll see that changing in the next few years?
I guess we will see if it is going to change, yes.
Basically, we will have different technologies depending on the usage of the car. For me, this is already the case at the moment. We have gasoline for people who are not driving a lot, diesel for people who are driving a lot. And tomorrow we'll have the same time of splits in the market for people who are just commuting. They don't need to have, let's say, a car which is able to do 1,000 kilometers without being refueled. And for those who are using their car every day or for LCV or trucks, we need different technologies. Basically, we think that battery EV cars will be part of the solution for some customers, and other technology for different kind of customers, such as fuel cell technology, which are EV cars, but producing itself their own electricity, which is a bit different in terms of approach. Less issue in terms of range, less issue in terms of refueling because it takes only a few minutes. But I think that these technology are already on the road at the moment for many makers. And we were talking about the speed, but the big difference between, let's say, the last 20 years and what we'll face in the next 5 years will be the speed, clearly. Things are moving so fast, and it's more and more complicated for us as OEM because finally, we need to investigate many different areas to be sure that in 5 years, in 10 years, we'll still be alive in the market, being able to provide to the final customer the right technology at the right moment. So before it was very simple, we have only one type of engine, and it was the case for the last, let's say, 100 years. Now we'll have different type of technologies for different type of customers, which is a bit more complicated, but really interesting as a OEM for sure.
And as we start to close down, Thomas, any thoughts from your end on this one?
Yeah, so my answer is definitely the electric vehicle will be the solution in the long run. We can talk about battery technology, fuel cell and so on, but it's an electric drive. Finally, because we see all the energy of the complete automotive industry and all the investments going in that direction. And there's still a long way to go until we are there. We have to go through the part with all these architectures, with hybridization, different voltage levels. But finally, that's the decision in the market from my point of view.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, any further thoughts before we look to close down? I think thank you so much for sharing your views. Really, really enjoyable and definitely some insightful things for all of us to be thinking about. Oh, sorry, Damien, one more from you.
One last word. We should not forget about the pleasure to drive. And green cars have a lot of torque, so it's fun.
Well, they are fun. So we can end on that note. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Thomas, Gunther, Lionel, Damien, and Sarah, our moderator. Thank you so much.
That is the sound of an invasion. Yes, that is the sound created by the musical invasion of America by the world's hottest recording group.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off next session right now, and those of you that have maybe been joining us throughout the week will know that on this stage, again, we have some fantastic, intriguing panel discussions with great conversations, lots of insights, even advice and tips as well. But again, part of our program is actually presenting, or not us presenting, more so the startups presenting their big ideas here on stage during the startup competitions we have throughout the week. So just to remind you, we have had more than 500 different ideas, concepts that have applied to be with us here at Mondial Tech here in Paris 2018 at this show. We chose 64 of the best startups, and they're actually all on my right in an area called the Labyrinth on the right-hand side there. What will happen now is in this session, this particular session, we have 8 startups. 8 startups will stand here, present their big idea to a panel of jury members. After our session, the panel will get together and decide who is the lucky winner that will run away with, not run away, walk away, not even walk away, even just stand there with the award and the title of the best startup for this session, electrification and hybridization as well. Right, so before we go any further, let's introduce the jury members, the special people that will decide the special winner of this session. So please welcome to the stage the president of this jury, about to come on stage, Mr. Walter Sackel. We've already seen him before. Please join us once again. Take a seat. We also have from Magna Powertrain and Magna International, we also have from Fidal, our legal partner of Mondial Tech as well, CEO of Fidal Innovation, Mr. Geoffrey Cousin. Geoffrey, please join us. Senior manager at MHP at Porsche Company. Again, a gentleman we've already seen this morning, Günther Hahn. Please join us once again on stage. And also the senior manager in electrification technologies and energy optimization from Peugeot Citroën, Mr. Nicolas Leclerc. Right. So we have our jury members, a selection of jury members who certainly know what they're talking about, and I'm sure you see a lot of ideas on a daily basis, some great ideas, maybe not so great ideas, but hopefully on this stage we're going to hear some really intriguing concepts as well. Here's the drill, very, very simply, 3 minutes to present their ideas. If it goes over the 3 minutes, well, up to 3 minutes, we will hear a gong. I will then politely come on stage and cut off the startups if you actually keep on speaking after 3 minutes. So it's fair and square for everybody. Then we dig a little bit deeper. We go underneath the bonnet, underneath the surface to really find out how these startups tick and really what makes them move forward with your questions from our jury members. Okay, I think we're ready. Is it very clear? It is. I'm sure you're ready. I'm sure audience is ready, and naturally our startups as well. Okay, so here we go. First of all, to present the first startup of this session, please put your hands together and welcome on stage our first startup, very simply called EVR Motors.
Hi everyone, my name is Eli Rosinski. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EVR Motors. In the recent years, the electric motors technology basically was only optimized and nothing new was invented. We in EVR Motors actually reinvented the electric motor as we know it and invented a completely new topology for electric motors. The electric motors market for electric vehicles is a huge market, but it has a lot of challenges in front of them. Some of them is basically to lower the cost of electric vehicle to compete in front of the ICE vehicles. The challenges that there are from the motor side are the high weight and volume of today's motor, high production costs, complex cooling mechanism, and some issues with the high voltage safety for the passengers. Well, we're resolving all of these issues by providing the industry with the lightest motors today, only 5 kilowatt per kilogram, with the lowest cost of mass production. We are talking about $4 to $5 per kilowatt in mass production, in front of $7 to $8 per kilowatt in mass production today. with simplified cooling. And another interesting thing is we are the first motor in the world that can produce very high power motors, not only in 400 volt, but in 48 volt. We can actually do 120 kilowatt motor in 48 volt. The core innovation of our technology is in the electromagnetic system. We are not using any electrical steels in the rotor. We are using the magnets from both sides instead of only one. We are using much less materials. And our technology is patented. We've granted patents around the world already, and with some additional pending. Okay. This is a comparison to some of the best motors today in the market for 400 volt. You can see here that we are talking about way higher power density in terms of volume and weight in front of other motors. Our target markets is the 120 kilowatt motors for electric cars that we already do with 24 kilogram per motor, and some smaller motors for the 2- and 3-wheelers market. Our business model is to create demand from the OEM side and collaborate with tier ones to produce the motors. We are a strong team of 11 employees based in Israel. We are looking for investments and cooperations with OEMs and tier ones. So to summarize, we are talking about a huge market. We are enabling the cost reduction of electric vehicle. We have the highest power density, and we are enabling a safe 48-volt vehicle, full electric vehicles. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for EVR Motors, hitting it right on time as well. Right, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's see how our jury members felt about what they've just heard.
Maybe one question. You mentioned that you will reach high power values on 48 volt voltage.
Yes.
What about the current?
Yeah, it's very high current, of course. It's 2.5 kiloampere. One of the innovations in our technology is basically that because of the completely different electromagnetic system, we have a lot of space for the coils in our motors, and we can use thin coils for high volume, for high voltage, and very thick coils for low voltage and high current. Okay, we made a calculation of how this will work for the entire system, and the advantages that you're getting from removing all the high voltage safety systems in front of what you need to add the thick wires between the battery to the inverter. We are still talking about a 20% reduction of the cost of the entire vehicle.
How does the inverter look like? Do you have a partnership there? Is it something also in your focus?
Yeah. Currently, we're actually buying off-the-shelf inverters, and we are doing our own algorithms for these inverters. In the future, we plan to do a partnership regarding the inverter and to do an integrated inverter to the motor. Today, we're just buying off-the-shelf from one of the best tier ones today. And
so if you are taking into consideration off-the-shelf inverter, it needs to have multiple phases. How many?
3-phase.
3-phase?
Yeah.
What type of technology is then used in the inverter?
The inverter is a regular B4 inverter. It's a standard. Nothing special.
And 3-phase motor?
Yeah. It's a 3-phase motor. It's a BLDC motor, basically. So, it's a DC to AC 3-phase.
So can you tell us who is the genius behind the invention, and is he part of the company?
Yes, of course. The genius is, can I move it back? Yeah. The genius here is Victor and Ruslan. Ruslan is here in the crowd, and Victor is not here. Victor is one of the co-founders. He is a scientist from Russia originally. He was working on permanent magnet solutions and motors since the 80s. Developing some motors for, let's say, for steering of submarines in Russia in the past, and the innovation came from there.
Okay, we've got 15 seconds for a very last quick question. 15 seconds, anyone?
Do you have any collaboration already with some potential customers?
Yes, we have a POC project with one of the major OEMs in Germany.
Ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Please, again, once again, put your hands together for EVP Motors. There we are. Thank you so much. So there we have it. There's our first startup. That's literally the drill. That's how it works. 3 minutes questions, and then we move on to the next one. As you can see, jury members putting down their views, evaluating what they've just heard. Okay, ready now to move on to our next startup of this session. So again, if you just joined us, this is the Electrification and Hybridization Startup Awards competition. Please welcome to the stage our next startup, very simply called Silicon Mobility.
Hello. Hello, I'm Khaled Douzan, co-founder and vice president of Silicon Mobility. I walk around the show today, and I can tell you that we are all into the room or in the show to address case. Connectivity, autonomous driving, share, and electrification raise two main issues, actually real-time and functional safety. And we cannot solve this issue anymore with software-alone solution. We shall go beyond. Our full-stack solution go beyond and apply to powertrain electrification to push the limit of the energy efficiency, but also to provide a crucial nerve to autonomous driving and for decision making. Today I will talk about powertrain electrification. Let's focus on technology. We have invented a new kind of control unit, FPCU. It includes two main technology, AMEC, which is a parallel and hardware flexible architecture which fully address the automotive stringent requirement to solve real-time and software bottleneck issue. Silent for safety, which cover fault not only at hardware level but also at application level in a matter of nanoseconds. The solution is software and hardware flexible. This is fully timing predictable, safe, and open to provide the software independence all across the platform. When looking to the KPI with regard to the competition differentiation, FPCU is 40 times faster in terms of data processing, more than 1,000 times faster in terms of fault reaction time, and almost reduce the current consumption by almost 200. This provide such performances provide a significant impact at system level. It enables the implementation of a new kind of algorithm, which actually which actually down the line improve the energy efficiency from 50 to 70% when looking to the complete powertrain power flow. The FPCU is also a solution which is fully programmable from models. So, and it provide and save months of development and allow OEM to take back control of their electronic and software design. And hopefully it provides also a bill of material reduction, which is quite convenient for the automotive market. So applying on the DC-DC onboard charger and inverter, it provides a range extension of the vehicle of 30%.
There we have it. There we have it. There's the going after 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Silicon Mobility. Okay, let's hear from our jury members about what they've just heard.
Yeah, question. So technology outlined, however, how about the business model?
Actually, we sell in volume our FPCU device, but it is not only a semiconductor solution, it is a full stack solution. We provide tools, we provide library and tuning, and on this we license our software and we have royalties revenue.
How about vertical integration? So who produces the hardware?
Actually, we provide a solution and technology to be integrated into customer solution. So we help our customer to integrate new algorithm and integrate that into the AUTOSAR basic software and fine-tune our solution with regard to the selected power transistor.
How old is your patent portfolio, and do you have any ongoing research?
Actually, we started the research 8 years ago. We have more than 25 patents in the domain, And we are, actually the solution is real, available. You can come and order it. So it's fully qualified, fully in line with the ISO 26262 requirements, and fully packaged with AUTOSAR solution. So it's ready.
Okay, this is where you are today. Where do you go in future?
In future, we are providing solutions that can push the limits. Today, we can support, for instance, a control loop up to 1 megahertz of calculation to support DC-DC with GAN, for instance, solution, while pushing the limit with regard to the algorithm with soft switching or variable PWM frequency, which is quite challenging to improve the energy efficiency of the vehicle. In the future, we are pushing the same technology, real-time and functional safety, into the autonomous driving for decision making, to be close to the crucial nerve of the vehicle for the controlling. And
there's another minute.
Does it fulfill all the requirements on embedded software standards by the traditional OEMs?
Sorry?
Does it fulfill all the requirements on embedded software standards?
Yeah, it fulfills completely the automotive standard, and especially with AUTOSAR. For instance, we have a complete driven framework and automated framework from models, and we are able to integrate this solution, which is a complex device driver solution and application software component, into a complete seamless development framework of AUTOSAR when looking to the OEM solution or Tier 1 solution.
And that works then also fine with hardware and software in the loop testing methods.
Yeah, well, actually we have focused our effort to instrument the testing, because you will use our hardware flexibility to calibrate and adjust your control loop. So it means that you need to rely on an instrumented flow for the calibration, which is specific.
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen, hands together for Silicon Mobility. Thank you so much. Right, so we go once again. Our jury members, they are hard at it. They are looking down, evaluating. Whoops, pop that back on there. They are evaluating what they've just heard. Again, maybe you can evaluate what you just heard as well. Remember, we have our hashtag, #MondialTech. #MondialTech. Pop on social media what you feel. Something that tickles your fancy, something you're curious about, something that you've heard and you like a lot. Pop it down on social media and let the world know what you feel about what you hear here on stage. Right, moving on now to our next startup here on stage. Please welcome the third startup of this session, very simply called Evans Electric.
Good morning. My name is Paul Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of Evans Electric. I haven't got a slideshow. I've just presented a video of our technology. We're a full stack EV powertrain developer. On the hardware side, we specialize in axial flux induction motors, which are designed for a range of automotive applications, ranging from P2 hybrid, which you'll see in that example there, through to integrated dual motor e-axles, which you'll see there. On the software side, we are working on an augmented drive-by-wire operating system, which would control all 4 motors in torque vectoring, stability control, and anti-lock braking. We're at this show to looking to collaborate with OEMs and Tier 1s as far as commercializing the technology and put it into production. It's a bit of a short speech, but that's about it.
Is that it? That's it? 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for Evans Electric. This now means you get actually a little bit more for questions. Okay, let's hear from our jury members.
What's the difference to all the other axial flux technologies and machines?
We're focused on an induction version of the axial flux motor, so we don't have any rare earth materials in it. There's 2 fairly prominent competitors in our field, but they've all focused on permanent magnets, so we feel that we have at least a 50% price advantage over them as far as material costs go.
Yeah, what is your business model? You mentioned that you were working with OEM or Tier 1. Is it
we're looking
in
to
what
collaborate. We're looking to
you are looking for?
Well, I mean, we've been approached by probably a dozen OEMs already, but it depends on what the business model that the OEM's looking for. Like, for example, BMW would probably prefer to license the technology. If it was Daimler, they would be looking for a supplier, so we'd need to collaborate with a tier one to supply Daimler, for example. But we've had at least, well, we've had a dozen OEMs already approach us, but we should really start talking more to tier ones to get the thing into production.
And maybe, sorry, one more question maybe. Axial flux motors are not so often seen on cars. Why axial flux?
It's probably the highest torque density motor that you can that's available. I mean, the move from stationary electric motors to electromobility is a completely different set of parameters. The existing electric motor industry primarily operates at 50 hertz, and they're grid-tied. A motor of this sort of size and this sort of power would be, probably 200 kilos, which isn't really, usable in a automotive application. The current trend in the auto industry is that they've all focused on permanent magnet motors to get the torque density. The advantage of an axial flux motor is they have a fairly large radius, which gives it a lot of torque in a very small package. And we feel that we can match the torque density and efficiency of the permanent magnet offerings now, but in a package that's at least 50% to maybe 70% smaller.
So looking to your data, so actually this typically pancake machines have an issue with high revs. So it's usually small rev machines. When I see the torque levels there, they are, I would say, not sufficient for any kind of cars. Maybe B segment, maybe A segment.
No.
How to overcome the issue on low rev capability versus high speed expectation?
Okay, so we don't see any RPM limit. The motor that we've currently prototyped was designed to meet a specification provided by an OEM. Their requirement was 7,000 RPM, which is good enough for a P2 application. Basically, you understand what P2 is? P2 is a hybrid with a motor between the ICE and the gearbox. So you can decouple the combustion motor and then just run in E-mode, but you can have a full range of gears as well. So our motor would match a typical ICE's rev range. In an EV application, it might be more typical of 10 to 12,000 RPM, but we can accommodate that, no problem at all.
Good explanation, but that doesn't fit to your torque vectoring style of arrangement.
Well, okay, so the video is a bit old. It shows the wheel motor. It shows the motors in the wheel, but the slide before that shows that we're actually working on an inboard solution which has planetary gears for each motor. So it's 6-to-1 gearing. That's more than enough torque for any size vehicle as far as automotive goes. Anyway, I wouldn't say trucks, but that's more than enough. And we're using an off-the-shelf planetary gearing set that was previously used in the Audi R8 Quattro. We're working with the same gearbox supplier. Oh, if you watch the video go through again, it'll show our inboard solution. 4 seconds.
Okay, that wraps it up. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Evans Electric. Thank you so much. Okay, once again, our jury members, they are hard at work, popping down on their evaluated sheets, their evaluations of how they felt about what they've just heard, and all the other startups as well, not giving anything away. Remember, if you just joined us, this is one of eight startup competitions we've been presenting throughout the week. This theme here, electrification and hybridization, this is the award competition for that one. Again, we've already done this is the seventh one, in fact. Sixth one, in fact, that we've had. Remember, tonight, so all the winners of each of the startup competitions, all of those specific winners of each each startup competition throughout this week will come together for the grand prize competition tonight, and that's at 6:30 on this stage, and we'll find out who actually runs away as grand prize Mondial Tech 2018 winners for this year. So quite exciting indeed. But in the meantime, let's move on now to our next startup of this session. Please welcome to the stage our next startup, very simply called Mazap.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy, founder of Mazap, and I'm very happy to be here. And because it's Paris Motor Show, I'd like to start with a simple picture of my own car. I really love my car because it's an ecological one, hybrid, LPG powered, and no option I don't need. But there's still a big problem with this car, which is the brakes. In fact, they generate a lot of pollution, thin particles. And you may have the same problem with your own car. Even if it's hybrid or full electric, they are still equipped with this kind of brakes that generate pollution. So in order to solve this issue, Mazap proposed a new generation of brake system which are fully electric, zero emission. So the goal is to fully get rid of mechanical brakes, at least at the front of the car. About from a business perspective, the total market is quite huge, so the target strategy is to start with a smaller one, which could be motorsport. As the president of the FIA says, Formula E is the perfect showcase of new electric vehicle technology. For sure, the president of the ACO would say the same. About motorsport, I also have to confess a secret sauce, which is that I was previously working for a Formula One team. I was a chief design engineer for ERS system. Some word about the competition now. I only have time to say that, of course, some companies are working on clean braking, but the main difference with Mazap is that they do not provide energy recovery system. About milestones now, Mazap is a quite young company. It has been created last year. The first year has been dedicated to develop a prototype and to protect the IP with a patent. Okay. Next 3 years will be dedicated to the target market, and the goal is to build the team and answer a complete customer project. Final goal is, of course, to be deployed on the total market by 2026. That's all for me. If you have questions, and thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for Mazap. Mazap, right. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper under the bonnet. Let's hear from our jury members.
You've worked on protecting your invention by patent. Do you have any competitive prior art which is opposed to your patent?
Competitive what, sorry?
Prior art, like other publications from other companies?
Today, the historical studies are being processed, and no invention is being raised that could face our invention.
You didn't go into detail into your technical claim.
Mm-hmm.
What are the basis information about this technology?
What I can tell right now, because we are under the process of patent, but what I can say is based on axial flux permanent magnet motors. So that's all I can say.
Actually, standard brake systems today are about 10 times the propulsion system in terms of power. So the standard power of a C-segment car is an average 150 kilowatt. The brake system run about 1,500 kilowatt peak power.
Mm-hmm.
How to achieve that on a wheel?
What helped here with this proposal is that because we are talking about a brake system, we only size the system only for transient, so you can challenge the thermal sizing of your system so that you can reach this kind of power.
Is there still a remaining brake in the car or on the front axle or not?
On the front, no, because that's where you target to have the full brakes. But you can imagine have a standard brake to stop the car for the very end, or when you're stopped on the back, on the rear wheels.
Why start to address by addressing the motorsport market? Because I believe this will be very challenging for braking systems.
Yeah, in fact, again, motorsport is one possibility, but if you're talking about the challenge, that's exactly what I'm looking for, because this technology is new. We have to convince people that it's safe, that it's robust, and motorsport is the best way to do it.
Okay, another 30 seconds, enough time for maybe one last quick question.
What is the team behind? Is this only you, or?
Today, the team is only me, yeah, but the goal of next year is to start building people. But I've been helped with many friends and people from motorsport. Of course, I'm not alone, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for Mazab. Thank you so much. Great. So once again, our jury members, they're putting down their evaluations about what they've just heard. Again, we are going through these great big ideas on all about electrification and hybridization theme as well. We move swiftly through them. Again, remember, 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to share their ideas, and then we have 3 minutes from our jury members. At the end of this session, we'll have a short break, and we'll find out. We'll find out about 20 minutes later who will actually be the winner, winning the award for this specific session. Right, our next startup's ready and waiting. Please welcome to the stage the next startup to present here on this theme is very simply called Enzo Tires.
Hello. Enzo makes sustainable tires for electric vehicles. We've all heard about the benefits of electric vehicles and how they're good for our planet. But EVs still run on fossil fuels and still generate enormous emissions because of tires. In fact, tire emissions are 6 times the volume of tailpipe emissions currently allowed under Euro 6. And not only are tires made out of fossil fuels, but they also contain over 30 carcinogens and toxins. They do not biodegrade, and they remain in our environment long time after their use. In fact, tire emissions currently account for 28% of all primary microplastics floating in our oceans. Now, this problem is completely unsustainable, but switching to electric cars will not solve it. In fact, electric cars will probably make this worse. That is because they're heavier and have higher torque. So electric vehicles actually generate more tire emissions per mile than traditional vehicles. Enzo solves this through advanced engineering and unique formulations that allow us to combine sustainability and performance for the tire. In fact, what we do is we deliver a tire that is highly durable to reduce emissions, so it lasts longer. But importantly, we use natural and sustainable raw materials to make sure that the tire is less toxic, less carcinogenic, and also biodegrades at the end of life. But most importantly, performance is still key for electric vehicles. So we engineer our tires to be extremely energy efficient, allowing us to extend the range of any equipped electric car. We have already demonstrated on a prototype a 7.5% improvement in range for that electric car based on rolling resistance without compromising other metrics. And we are on track now to double this. The opportunity, of course, in front of us is large. In 2025, there will be over 11 million electric vehicles on the market, each requiring several sets of tires. And Enzo is in a unique position to capture this opportunity. Our team of tire industry veterans has over 100 years of senior experience in advanced R&D, product development, and industrialization of tires, combined with a unique team of startup excellence. We might be brand new to the tire industry, but our team is embedded within it. We have already secured substantial investments. We're looking to raise 4 million by early 2019, of which half of has already been raised by existing investors. Most importantly, we're already working with major OEMs to equip our tires onto their electric vehicles, and we're seeking further OEM engagement to equip more EVs with our tires. Finally, our products would be launched in the market by early or mid 2019 in pilot schemes, and we're looking for further EV fleet partners for our 2019 launch. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for Enzo Tyres. Right, Enzo Tyres, let's hear what Arju feel about what they've just heard.
I wonder why you limit the usage of these tires to EV.
It's partly, of course, we're a startup, and the need for EVs to resolve this problem, I think, is the greatest because of the heavier weight and torque is one reason. Also, we don't see that electric vehicles should run on tires made out of fossil fuels. So if we really want to become a sustainable future, we should fix that problem as well. We can, of course, as we develop, expand into other categories as well, into non-EV categories. But the mission of the company is to actually accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles and more sustainable practices within that field. And we see that the current tire industry is not actually satisfying the needs of the electric market today.
So you're competing with major companies who do a lot of R&D in this field. Can you tell us how some genius sometimes just comes up with such kind of idea? Where does it come from?
It's a combination of several technologies, some of which has been available to the tire industry actually for some time. But it isn't being adopted actually today to many tire industries because the additional costs is prohibitive to the adoption of these technologies. What we do is partially product innovation, but most importantly as well, which actually wasn't presented previously, is that we are redefining the business case around tires as well. We provide it as a service, so we're not actually focused on making tires that wear out too easily so we can sell another set of them. We sell them per mile, so the longevity and the durability of the tire actually impacts positively on our bottom line. We don't ask the customer to pay anything up front either, so it helps with the adoption of these tires to the end consumers as well.
We've got another 60 seconds. Anything else you'd like to maybe add?
When you want to introduce a new business model for the tires, so a subset of the whole vehicle, and on the contrary, on the vehicle, we will see mobility service and also business models there. How does it relate to each other? So when the one is making their business model, the tire its own, do you feel that will work out?
We are already working with a major OEM to actually integrate our solution with their mobility services. It makes sense in particular that as those mobility services are generating revenue, that the cost of the tires is in tandem with those revenue streams as well. So there's no upfront costs here. This is, of course, the major replacement item on an electric vehicle. Pretty much the biggest worry now for electric vehicles is the fact that how do you service the tires, because there's pretty much nothing else to service. By integrating this within the OEMs and their dealership networks in particular, we can...
There we are, time's up. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Enzo Tyres. Right, so we move on now to the next idea. Again, we're making our way through these very diverse, intriguing concepts here on stage. Our jury members, they are evaluating, and at the end we will find out who out of these 8 will be crowned the winner of this certain session. Right, we move on now to the next startup. The next startup, very simply called Angel Wings.
I may not look like one, but I'm a real angel. And my mission today is to save an endangered species, the heart-top retractable. And the reasons why these cars could vanish very soon, there are 2 reasons. One, today's problems. With the heart-top open, you have very little space in the trunk. The access is very limited. The system is very complex, and that means higher costs, more weight, less dynamics. Number 2, the future problems, mainly hybridization. Hybrid systems also require more space in the trunk and add more weight. Solving those two problems seems to be an impossible task for mere mortals. So here's my divine intervention. Angel Wings. It solves the present problems and the future problems. Let's see some benefits, and you can thank me later. The red car on top has the Angel Wings system, and with the hardtop open, look how much space you have in the trunk. Look at that generous opening for access. Also, the configuration of the space is very useful. Angel Wings doesn't need a system that for dual opening of the trunk lid. Doesn't need this system that raises the hardtop structure from the trunk in order to gain a little bit more access. Angel Wings can be adapted for 4-seat car. It moves faster and it looks spectacular. So that makes it a perfect solution for hybrid configurations. You see the red car also in the hybrid configuration and the current model with Angel Wing system and hybrid configurations. Maybe you recognize it. After 2008, convertibles, both soft top and hard top, dropped to nearly 1% of the market. And the hard tops are doing worst. This is a great opportunity because a company that brings to the market a smart solution that solves the present problems and also is viable for hybridization and electrification, that company will revitalize and revolutionize the market. And as an angel, I will promise you that the future car market will look good. Everything will glow in the future, especially the green stuff. And now, here is the celestial team that did this amazing work. It's just me, myself, and I.
So I love your team, me, myself, and I.
What's going on?
Right. I've never ever seen a slide like this. Hats off.
Questions, confessions, and prayer.
Confessions. Yeah. Confessions. Okay.
Wishes.
Okay. Jury members, let's hear what you feel about Angel Wings.
This is very, very good or very, very bad.
Sorry, sorry for my question, but I didn't understand what are your technical proposal.
So it's a system. It's a new way to open the hardtop structure and also to store it in the trunk. It leaves the center of the trunk available, so you have enough space for a hybrid system, you have enough space for the luggages, and enough space for the hardtop structure. And this could be if we do not
just
make
put it here, just closest. Yeah.
Okay, okay. This could be a less complex system also. If we do not commit sacrilege of over engineering, we can make it a little bit simpler.
What are you going to sell?
The IP.
How secured is your IP?
Well, I'd applied for an international patent in June 2015. Currently, we are in IAM, because I am in the final stages. Last year, I applied for a regional in Europe, and for national in SUA, and in USA and China. So I'm looking for those guys to send me here. That's it.
Do you already have customers?
Well, this is my first exposure. I rushed a bit things to get here. So I hope this brings some partners, customers, somebody with deep pockets, hopefully.
Okay, we've got another 40 seconds. Anything else from our jury members? Happy? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Angel Wings. A man with a team, I'll say nothing else. Right, we move on to our next startup, our next big idea here on stage. Please welcome to the stage our next startup, very simply called Librelato.
Excuse me. This is green. Good morning, everybody. I'm Donald Lun, a director in Liberato Limited. That photo is with Ruggiero Liberato, who is inventor of Liberato engine. For the for automotive market, it is based on cost and convenience. So for a PHEV, it can be run with on battery in town and in country using the ICE to charge up the battery. Piston engine was Victorian invention. So Liberato engine is an invention for the 21st century. A PHEV vehicle has a reduction of fuel cost by 60% and 55% of CO2 compared with its diesel version. Our business model is a global licensing model combined with manufacturing for Europe. For the competitors from this table, no other engines could become the ultimate hybrid engine. For market penetration strategy, first, we will start at the genset, and we will end at the low duty and high duty and heavy duty hybrid vehicles. This is our usual team, including Chinese and Indian, who have experts of universities and working experience of specialist engine company. So it is a unicorn, and so we will have valuation of £1 billion in 2040s. And so we are asking for the 5.
That's where we'll stop it there. Thank you so much. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Librelato. Thank you. Okay, so this is where we ask our jury members to pose questions regarding what they've just heard.
What's the competitive advantage of your technology?
So pardon, could you speak again, please?
What's the competitive advantage of your technology?
This is small size and low emissions and low emissions and lightweight of the engine, so that it can let more spaces for the other applicants, such as occupying the batteries in the hybrid vehicles.
And how do you achieve this?
So we have the design, we have the design, and so the modified design leading the investment to to take the test and then to go to the production. And so on the last slide, at this moment we are asking for 500,000 investment to put the Liberator engine into the production.
How deep is the impact of this new concept on the industrial tool? In other words, do you have to rebuild from scratch a new factory, or do you have some common elements with actual technologies?
So I think for the companies collaboration. So at the right low corners, there are some countries with the NDAs with us.
I think, and that wraps it up. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Librelato. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, so we steadily move on now to the next startup. In fact, number 8 of 8 startups in this session. Remember, electrification and hybridization, that's what it's all about. That's what we've all been hearing about. 8 new ideas, very diverse indeed, and we'll find out who runs away winner a little bit later on. Right, please welcome to the stage, number 8 of 8 startups. A startup very simply called Exo.
Aspiration has no limits. Limits are only in your head. There are no limits for Exobike. Exobike, new level of your freedom.
Hi, my name is Oleg, and I would like to talk to you about limits in our heads. Electric, ride-shared, and even autonomous cars are not future of urban mobility. They are heavy, they are big, they have intrinsically inefficiency because they mostly carry itself, not their useful load. They have to be and are starting to be swamped by public transport and light electric vehicles. There is already a big market. Only one segment of light electric vehicles, electric bikes, already exceeds $20 billion. But there are also other segments. And there are some prominent players on the market, but many more are to come. And they lack reliable, easy to install, and multi-compatible solution for their power management systems. We developed easy to install plug-and-ride platform that includes reliable controllers, a battery management system, and open protocol to combine all the necessary equipment as our own production as well as third-party developers, and that allows to easily build different kind of light electric vehicles from kick scooters to motorcycles. We don't going to compete with established bike producers. We are going to grow with different new LEVs segments and new LEVs producers, providing them with our solution. We also built some our own vehicles. Our first B2C product, electric mountain bike retrofit kit, got very good anticipation. And we already have some partners who use our electronics for their development, like these cargo scooters, sport utility bikes, and so on. We also have we are in negotiations with one bike producer and one kick scooter sharing system to provide our controllers for them. We are sure we can achieve our goals as we have a very experienced and balanced team with execution, marketing, and technical experience. Urban mobility is changing, and we all have to adapt to this. And we are really interested to provide our LEV part of this solution. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hands together for EXO. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Right, let's hear from our jury members for the last time about what they just heard on stage.
So what I understood is the USP is open source CAN bus structure.
We base our system on CAN bus. We have a proprietary algorithm for electric motor controller and for BMS system, but we also have an open protocol to connect different devices like electric brakes, alarm sounds, and so on. So it could work with on this CAN bus.
Then how about the safety of such open protocol?
Yes, the protocol works on the open. It is open in the sense of exchanging of different data, but it doesn't influence our core system of driving. So this open protocol allows to connect different devices, but not to interfere in it.
So what are you going to sell, and how is your IP protecting your business model?
Yeah, for now we have one patent actually for our devices, and what we are going to sell is our electronics as a basic product. But actually we also want to have a subscription model for updates of this of platform, because our platform allows easy update, and includes so after new versions of software, it could be installed easily on a device. That's very interesting, for example, for sharing systems. That's why they're interested in such kind of solution.
You mentioned that you are searching partners. What kind of partners are you searching? On R&D or industrial development?
Mostly for industrial development. We are interested in different companies who want to make their light electric vehicles. It could be startups, it could be industrial producers. For example, if car company, I believe car company should think about producing some light electric vehicles. For example, maybe instead of spare wheel, place a couple of mono wheels in their cars. So in different kind of cooperation.
We've got literally 12 seconds. One last quick question, quick answer. Anything at all? Look at it. Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for EXO. Thank you so much. There we have it. There we have it. It has been an electric session, certainly. And what will happen now is our jury members, very simply, they will stand up and they will be whisked away. They will be whisked away by this man here, Benjamin, from Startup Sesame and Connectors, responsible for putting all this together. And you will be taken away, probably blindfolded, and taken to a secret location, and that is where you will decide who the lucky winner is. And I believe, Walter, you'll be back in about 20 minutes on this stage to announce that lucky winner. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our jury members, Walter, Geoffrey, Gunther, and Nicolas. Thank you so much. And right now, in the meantime, as the jury members decide exactly who the lucky winner is, what we're going to have now is something quite special. An interview, a conversation all about electrification and hybridization, the future and the next steps from actually two people who know quite a lot about it indeed. Please welcome to the stage from the Automobile Club de l'Est, en fait, the president of that Automobile Club de l'Est, Mr. Pierre Fillon. Welcome on stage, Pierre. And the gentleman who's going to have a healthy, productive discussion with you as well. Please welcome back on stage, Guillaume Crunel from Deloitte.
Bonjour à tous. Pierre Fillon, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Alors On est là pour parler de ce qu'on a vu ce matin, d'hybridisation, d'électrification. Avant de commencer, je veux quand même vous représenter. Vous êtes le président de l'Automobile Club de l'Ouest. Pour ceux qui ne sauraient pas ce que ça veut dire, c'est le créateur et l'organisateur des 24 heures du Mans quand même. Et avant de commencer, j'ai juste envie de vous avez regardé avec attention ce concours de start-up. Est-ce que vous avez un coup de cœur ou en tout cas une préférence affirmée?
Écoutez, je trouve que d'abord, ils méritent tous de gagner. J'ai trouvé ça très intéressant, tous très ingénieux, avec des problèmes auxquels on n'aurait pas forcément pensé. Je pense effectivement le cabriolet avec tous les moteurs électriques et les batteries qu'on met dans les voitures, ça va poser des problèmes. Mais j'ai un petit faible pour les freins, parce que c'est vrai qu'on ne parle jamais de ce problème de microparticules qui sont aussi émises par les freins. On en parle beaucoup pour le diesel ou les moteurs, rarement pour les freins, et c'est un vrai problème. Donc j'ai un petit coup de cœur pour eux.
Donc, allez, dans 30 minutes, on verra si le jury a partagé votre point de vue. Rentrons dans le vif du sujet. Là, ce matin, on a vu que la grosse préoccupation, c'est la réduction de l'empreinte carbone, le fait d'être moins impactant pour l'environnement. J'ai envie de vous dire, quand on voit les courses que vous organisez avec ces grosses voitures, avec ces grosses motos, est-ce que vous n'êtes pas plutôt le représentant des grands carboniers plutôt que de ceux qui viennent réduire l'empreinte carbone?
Écoutez, détrompez-vous, c'est vrai qu'on aime l'automobile et la compétition automobile, mais en fait, on se préoccupe beaucoup de ces recherches sur l'environnement. Vous savez, les 24 heures, il y a 3 éléments. Dans une course, il y a effectivement le sport, parce que c'est un sport, parlez-en avec les pilotes, vous verrez. C'est aussi un spectacle. Il faut des fans pour faire de la course automobile, donc il faut que ce soit spectaculaire, mais il y a aussi de la technologie. Et en fait, les 24 heures du Mans ont été inventées par mes prédécesseurs en 1923. On est au début de l'ère de l'automobile. On ne sait pas si c'est le cheval qui va gagner, d'ailleurs, à l'époque. Et l'idée de mes prédécesseurs, c'était de faire une course qui permettait aux constructeurs de venir tester et démontrer l'intérêt de leur technologie. Et quoi de mieux qu'une course de 24 heures? Une course de 24 heures qui se passe sur un circuit qui est long, qui fait 13 km, qui est à la fois une piste et à la fois une route ouverte. Une course il y a le jour, il y a la nuit, il y a des conditions météo différentes. Le circuit est tellement grand que vous pouvez avoir de la pluie à un endroit donné du circuit et pas à l'autre. Voilà, donc c'est un excellent laboratoire pour tester les technologies. Alors beaucoup d'éléments, notamment de sécurité, ont été inventés ou testés au Mans. On ne va pas tous les nommer, mais il y a eu les freins à disque, les phares à iode, les phares anti-brouillard. Et puis, plus récemment, on s'est évidemment penché sur l'efficacité énergétique, la réduction du CO2. Et sachez qu'en 10 ans, aux 24 heures du Mans, alors que les performances ont augmenté, on a réussi à économiser 50% de consommation d'essence et donc d'émissions de CO2.
Ce qui nous avait, quand on a préparé cet entretien, vous aviez beaucoup insisté sur le fait que pour faire progresser l'automobile, ce qui est la mission que vous êtes donnée, vous aviez une spécificité qui était la capacité à faire évoluer vous-même votre propre règlement. Est-ce que donc de changer les usages, pouvez-vous nous expliquer comment vous fonctionnez, comment vous faites pour anticiper les futures transformations?
Alors c'est vrai qu'on est probablement le seul automobile club au monde à faire ses propres règlements. Aujourd'hui, on les fait avec la FIA parce qu'on est associé avec eux dans l'organisation du championnat du monde d'endurance. Mais on travaille sur ces règlements nous-mêmes. Alors comment on fait? On écoute les constructeurs, on regarde vers où va l'automobile, parce que notre conception du sport automobile, c'est de faire des courses où on teste des technologies qui soient adaptables à la voiture de route. Ce n'est pas la performance absolue. Il faut que ces technologies soient transférables à la voiture de route. Alors on l'a fait, le dernier exemple, c'est un peu l'hybride. Vous savez que toutes nos voitures, d'ici 5 ans, on l'a vu ce matin, seront quasiment toutes avec des voitures hybrides. On ne sait pas encore, il y a différents modèles. Mais nous, l'hybride, on y travaille depuis 2008. Et en fait, le Mans est gagné par des voitures hybrides depuis 2012. Toutes les dernières épreuves ont été gagnées par une voiture hybride. Mais on a commencé à y travailler en 2008 avec Audi et Toyota notamment. Et ils ont développé des technologies extrêmement sophistiquées avec plusieurs systèmes hybrides, et ce qui a abouti à finalement entre 2013 et 2014, donc en un an, on a économisé 30% d'essence ce qui est énorme. Le step était très fort, et tout en ayant des performances plus importantes, puisque le record du tour absolu de l'histoire des 24 heures a été battu l'année dernière par Toyota.
Donc, on comprend bien tout ça. Bon, on va être un peu chauvin. C'est vrai que le Mans avec je dirais, Monaco et puis les 500 miles d'Indianapolis, c'est la plus grande course au monde, en tout cas une des plus belles marques. On comprend toutes ces technologies qui ont été développées historiquement chez vous, retransférées dans la rue pour le bien de chacun. Enfin, je vais être un peu poil à gratter sur ce coup-là. Cette année, il y avait grosso modo que Toyota qui est venu comme grand constructeur. Alors, comment vous expliquez cette situation si justement Le Mans est ce terrain d'expérimentation historique?
Alors c'est vrai qu'on n'avait que Toyota. Enfin, Toyota, c'est quand même le premier constructeur mondial, donc c'est quand même pas rien. Mais en fait, nos règlements évoluent par cycle. C'est en général des cycles de 4 ou 5 ans. Le dernier règlement a démarré en 2014, il s'arrêtait en 2019. Nous avions Audi, Porsche et Toyota qui se sont battus. On a eu des courses absolument formidables avec des technologies différentes. Ils étaient dans la même quart de seconde. Et puis, voilà, il s'est passé l'affaire Volkswagen. Et vous savez qu'Audi et Porsche font partie du groupe Volkswagen et ils ont été obligés de se retirer pour des raisons qui n'ont rien à voir avec le sport automobile. Et on s'est retrouvé effectivement avec uniquement Toyota. Alors après, il y a un futur règlement qui va arriver. Il arrive pour 2020, mais il faut un petit peu de temps pour les constructeurs de venir, de préparer des voitures pour pouvoir s'aligner en compétition. Et donc, on attend 2020. Mais il y a quand même une très belle course cette année, parce qu'il n'y a pas que notre particularité, c'est qu'on a aussi des GT. Et en GT, on a 5 constructeurs, les plus grands constructeurs de GT du monde. Et ça ne nous a pas empêché d'avoir plus de 250 000 spectateurs cette année au Mans. On a augmenté de 16 millions le nombre de spectateurs. On était à 116 millions cette année. On a attiré des pilotes de Formule 1 comme Alonso, comme Button. Donc voilà, les 24 heures du Mans vont bien. Et je vous invite tous d'ailleurs à y venir les 15 et 16 juin prochains.
Ça reste donc une course de pilotes. Hein. On a beaucoup parlé de véhicules autonomes aussi cette semaine. Là, vous nous avez parlé de votre règlement à venir 2020. Ça va ressembler à quoi? C'est quoi les particularités?
Alors ça va être un peu différent. Vous savez que aujourd'hui, on a des prototypes. Ces prototypes doivent répondre à une meilleure aérodynamique possible. Et souvent, c'est les ordinateurs qui dessinent les voitures et elles ont tendance un petit peu à se ressembler. Eh bien, on va faire quelque chose de complètement différent. On va garder des prototypes, mais la carrosserie va avoir un look qui va permettre d'abord d'identifier la marque, parce que c'est important et pour les constructeurs et pour les fans.
Ce qu'on est en train de voir là.
Avec des voitures qui vont faire rêver, qui vont avoir un look d'hypercar, ces voitures qu'on voit dans la rue et qui font rêver tout le monde. Mais bien sûr, on va quand même garder la technologie. Et donc, il n'est pas question d'abandonner l'hybride. Ces voitures auront un système hybride. On va faire quelque chose de plus simple, de plus accessible, parce que c'est vrai que Toyota et les autres avaient mis la barre très très haut en termes de technologie et en termes de coûts. Et il faisait peur un peu aux autres constructeurs. Donc, on va réduire considérablement les coûts. Et on est actuellement en discussion avec 5 ou 6 constructeurs pour ce règlement qui entrera en vigueur en septembre 2020.
Très bien. Donc, ici, on est à Mondial Tech, hein, donc on parle des technologies d'aujourd'hui et puis des technologies de demain. Elles seront dans vos voitures, en tout cas grâce à ce nouveau règlement. En termes d'innovation, de ce que vous voyez arriver, quelles sont les 2-3 technologies sur lesquelles vous êtes le plus positif, ou en tout cas sur lesquelles vous allez parier?
D'abord, il y a les véhicules connectés. Hein. On voit bien que l'intelligence artificielle intègre de plus en plus nos voitures avec un certain degré d'autonomie qui arrive. Nous, en sport automobile, on va intégrer ces systèmes surtout dans un but de sécurité. On ne va pas enlever les pilotes parce que c'est important le pilote dans une course automobile, mais on va se servir de l'intelligence artificielle pour améliorer la sécurité. Mais c'est un vaste sujet. Après, on voit bien que dans l'avenir, c'est probablement l'hybride rechargeable qui va être la technologie la plus intéressante, parce que les gens n'achèteront peut-être pas une voiture pour rouler en ville et une voiture pour partir en week-end. Donc l'hybride rechargeable sera probablement la solution. Et puis après, il y a évidemment le tout électrique. Il faut qu'on aille vers ce zéro CO2. Et là, il y a différentes technologies, la batterie et d'autres.
On va révéler un secret. Hein. Vous êtes actuellement engagé sur un projet, hein, la mission H24. C'est une surprise que vous nous avez apportée pour ce Mondial Tech. Donc je vous laisse nous en parler et puis accueillir Bernard Niclot à vos côtés pour en parler plus précisément.
Alors effectivement, on va faire venir Bernard Niclot. Cette surprise, vous allez pouvoir la voir, elle est juste derrière vous, au stand CAC 40. Bonjour Bernard. C'est un prototype qui a un nom de code. Le nom de code, c'est LMP-H2G. Ça veut dire Le Mans prototype hydrogène gazeux. C'est une voiture de course. Et cette voiture de course, elle sera éligible aux 24 heures du Mans dans l'avenir. Puisque notre idée, cette mission H24, c'est d'avoir une catégorie à hydrogène, pile à combustible, donc avec 0 émission, à l'horizon 2024. Donc Bernard va m'aider à vous présenter cette mission. Bernard est ingénieur, moi je ne le suis pas. Bernard a travaillé pour des grands constructeurs, il a travaillé aussi en compétition, il a été aussi directeur technique de la FIA. Et donc aujourd'hui, il est consultant pour l'ACO sur les nouvelles technologies, l'innovation et notamment l'hydrogène. Alors c'est vrai qu'aujourd'hui, on est un peu à une révolution, une nouvelle révolution de l'automobile. On doit aller vers le zéro émission. On ne sait pas encore comment on va y aller. Est-ce qu'on va y aller avec des batteries? Est-ce qu'on va y aller avec des piles à combustible? Est-ce qu'on va encore garder nos systèmes hybrides longtemps? Eh bien, nous, je le disais tout à l'heure, le sport automobile est là pour tester les technologies qui seront dans nos voitures de demain. Et nous croyons fermement à l'hydrogène. Donc cette mission H24, elle a démarré en janvier dernier. Par un groupe de travail que nous avons créé, dans lequel il y a 5 constructeurs, 2 équipementiers. Il y a Symbio, qui est un des plus gros fournisseurs de piles, fabricants de piles à combustible en Europe. Et ce groupe de travail va élaborer un règlement qui va permettre de faire rouler ces voitures en 2024. Mais avant, nous voulions montrer que cette technologie était sûre, qu'elle était fiable, qu'elle était sans danger, parce qu'on nous entend souvent dire que l'hydrogène est très dangereux, ce qui n'est pas le cas. Et nous voulions montrer dès maintenant que cette voiture pouvait rouler en compétition. Et le premier step, nous l'avons fait à Spa le 22 septembre dernier. C'était une première mondiale, c'était la première fois qu'une voiture de course roulait à pile à combustible. Et plutôt que de vous en parler, je vous propose de découvrir le premier tour de cette voiture.
Moi, ce qui me passionne, c'est le futur.
Aujourd'hui, c'est un jour fondateur.
Pour moi, c'était vraiment une nouvelle expérience.
Démontrer que ce type de voiture peut être aussi performante, avoir la même autonomie et rejeter que de la vapeur d'eau.
C'est la première fois qu'on faisait un circuit aussi long avec cette voiture, avec autant de vallonnement. C'est la seule chose qui me perturbait. Un peu d'émotion, pas trop d'inquiétude et des questions, et les réponses on les a eues 3 tours plus tard.
D'un côté l'hydrogène, de l'autre côté l'oxygène, la combinaison de ces 2 éléments, d'obtenir de l'énergie et d'autre part de l'eau.
La philosophie des 24 heures, c'est de tester et de développer des technologies pour les transports de demain. Ça a toujours été l'histoire depuis 1923. Notre préoccupation principale, elle est quand même environnementale. On veut laisser un monde propre pour nos enfants. démontrer que cette technologie, elle existe, elle fonctionne en course et surtout elle est sûre.
C'est à nous, mais aussi à d'autres, de développer ce qui existe déjà.
Voilà, donc vous avez pu revivre cette première. C'était un beau moment et vous avez là voilà, ce que produit cette voiture, juste de l'eau. Si vous en voulez, vous pouvez la goûter. Elle n'a pas de goût parce que c'est de l'eau déminéralisée, mais elle est potable. Donc on avait la joie d'avoir, lors de cet essai, des membres de la Commission Transport et Énergie européenne qui sont extrêmement intéressés par ce qu'on est en train de faire. Pourquoi? Parce qu'ils veulent développer les technologies décarbonées, ils veulent développer l'hydrogène et ils sont ravis de voir qu'on va se servir de la compétition automobile pour accélérer ces recherches. C'est vraiment le but. Cette technologie à pile à combustible, à hydrogène, elle est applicable pour les voitures, mais elle est aussi applicable pour les camions, les bateaux, parce qu'on ne parle pas beaucoup des bateaux, mais les bateaux, c'est une source de pollution énorme. Et puis même un peu dans les avions, ça peut permettre de réduire la consommation de kérosène. Alors pour vous parler maintenant en détail de cette technologie, je vais laisser la parole à Bernard. Merci.
Merci Pierre. Si on peut envoyer les slides. Voilà. Oui, donc moi je vais vous parler en élargissant un peu le spectre de finalement pourquoi la CO développe cette stratégie hydrogène et ce qu'on peut en attendre un peu dans tous les domaines comme l'a souligné Pierre. Alors, ce qui est fondamental avec l'hydrogène, c'est que c'est aujourd'hui la seule technologie de mobilité qui combine à la fois le zéro émission, la possibilité de ravitaillement rapide et la production possible à partir d'énergies renouvelables. Alors zéro émission, c'est important pour la qualité de l'air dans les villes. C'est-à-dire que c'est une voiture qui ne rejette que de l'eau, donc elle ne produit plus aucune nuisance et c'est devenu de plus en plus important, notamment dans un monde qui s'urbanise. Le ravitaillement rapide, c'est ce qui permet les longs voyages. Alors déjà, une voiture à hydrogène a une belle autonomie, mais en plus, on peut la recharger en quelques minutes. Donc les usages par rapport aux véhicules à essence n'ont pas changé. Et puis, production possible à partir d'énergies renouvelables. Effectivement, on peut produire l'hydrogène par électrolyse de l'eau, donc en faisant circuler de l'électricité dans l'eau. Ça permet d'éviter toute émission de CO2. Alors aujourd'hui, l'hydrogène est majoritairement fabriqué à partir d'hydrocarbures, mais demain, et c'est vers ça que tend la technologie, il pourra être produit à partir d'énergies renouvelables, donc le solaire, le vent, enfin tout ce qui peut produire de l'électricité de façon propre. Donc là, on adresse le problème CO2, c'est-à-dire le réchauffement climatique, et le sauver la planète. Et puis j'ai envie de dire, c'est pas sur la slide, mais l'hydrogène c'est également l'élément le plus abondant dans l'univers. Donc il y a énormément d'eau sur Terre, donc il est combiné effectivement à de l'oxygène pour faire de l'eau. Et puis au niveau technologique, aujourd'hui il n'y a pas de trou dans la raquette, c'est-à-dire que toute la chaîne technologique, de la production de l'hydrogène jusqu'à son utilisation sur véhicules existe, il ne manque aucune technologie. Alors évidemment, elles peuvent être améliorées, on va en parler. Mais au fond, tout est déjà là. Donc ça commence à être quelque chose d'assez mûr. Alors bien entendu, il y a des choses qui ne vont pas avec l'hydrogène, notamment la compétitivité économique qui reste à démontrer avec différents challenges qui sont quand même majeurs dans une société en transformation. C'est tout d'abord arriver à produire cet hydrogène de façon décarbonée, ça c'est faisable, mais de le faire de façon efficace, c'est-à-dire avec des hauts rendements. Donc là, effectivement, on voit qu'il y a tout un champ de technologique, de progrès possible pour arriver à le faire de façon efficace. Deuxième problème, l'hydrogène, c'est l'élément le plus léger de l'univers, donc il a tendance à fuir un peu partout et il est difficile donc à transporter. Donc il y a toute une question autour des infrastructures de transport et de distribution. Et là, on peut penser à de la production centralisée avec des transports, par exemple dans des équivalents de pipelines, mais des pipelines quand même très adaptés. Au contraire, penser plutôt à de la production et utilisation locale. Donc là, on voit bien que tout cet écosystème reste à créer. Et puis après, il y a la question de coût. Alors moi, j'ai mis technologie pile à combustible de façon un petit peu générique, mais en réalité, les coûts, ils adressent la pile à combustible, ils adressent les réservoirs, qui aujourd'hui sont sophistiqués, utilisent des matériaux quand même relativement chers. Et donc, effectivement, on sent bien qu'il y a toute une optimisation économique à faire. Et puis, l'optimisation économique, elle est aussi à faire au niveau des électrolyseurs, donc de toute la partie chaîne de production de l'hydrogène et de toute la partie transport. Donc en synthèse, aujourd'hui, on a une technologie, on sait à peu près quelles sont toutes les étapes et toutes les briques technologiques de l'hydrogène et d'une société plus tournée, plus consommatrice d'hydrogène. Clairement, on a encore des gros challenges économiques devant nous. Au niveau de l'utilisation de l'hydrogène pour la mobilité, on assiste aujourd'hui à une évolution rapide. C'est-à-dire qu'effectivement, on commence à avoir des applications série. Alors, c'est de la petite série, mais c'est de la série. C'est comme des voitures qui roulent sur la route. Il y en a qui roulent dans Paris. Les exemples, vous avez la Toyota Mirai, la Honda Clarity, Hyundai qui a déjà sorti un deuxième modèle, le Nexo ressemblant plus à un petit SUV. Daimler également annonce de la production. Et puis BMW, Audi ont lancé des développements. Du côté des États-Unis, GM, qui est un des constructeurs qui s'y est intéressé le plus tôt, dès les années 60, développe une plateforme là, que l'on peut voir sur la photo. Et cette plateforme, en fait, sert pour du transport lourd. Et l'armée américaine fait actuellement des tests pour du transport de troupes, avec quand même des avantages comme le silence, par exemple, de la pile à combustible par rapport à du transport à moteur là, qui fait plus de bruit. Donc pour l'armée, on voit bien que ça peut avoir un intérêt aussi. Donc c'est une plateforme plutôt multi-usage. Et GM s'est aussi lancé dans la construction d'une usine de piles à combustible dans le Michigan en partenariat avec Honda. Au niveau des camions également, donc là on quitte un peu l'automobile légère. Carrefour, Coop développe des camions à hydrogène. Toyota, là, vous avez une photo, développe aussi un camion en Californie. Donc le transport lourd est extrêmement intéressé par cette technologie parce qu'effectivement elle évite d'embarquer des très grosses quantités de batteries. Donc elle permet d'accéder à un transport lourd et professionnel complètement décarboné. Donc c'est encore un des intérêts forts de l'hydrogène. D'autres applications récentes, maintenant, donc, comme l'a cité Pierre, vous avez l'Energy Observer qui a été lancé en août 2017, donc avec le président Macron et Nicolas Hulot, qui était à ce moment-là ministre de l'Environnement. Vous avez le train hydrogène Alstom qui a roulé très récemment en Allemagne, donc il y a tout un développement dans le domaine des trains. Là, c'est plutôt un train genre TER, mais Alstom songe aussi à des locomotives pour tracter de grands trains à hydrogène. Vous avez un projet qui est né il y a quelques années pour les avions qui s'appelle Icarus. Donc c'est un consortium et l'idée c'est de remplacer les APUs et les Auxiliary Power Units dans les avions. Donc tout ce qui va fabriquer, permettre de chauffer les repas dans les avions, produire de l'électricité dans l'avion. Tout ça pourrait être fait à base d'hydrogène. Également sur tout ce qui est le roulage en parking dans les aéroports. C'est actuellement des roulages qui coûtent beaucoup de kérosène et ça pourrait être remplacé effectivement par de l'hydrogène et donc permettre d'embarquer moins de kérosène dans l'avion. Donc à la fin, des gains substantiels. J'ai cité tout à l'heure des voitures qui roulaient dans Paris. Effectivement, on a une flotte de taxis Hype qui sont très, très bien identifiables dans Paris. Il y a actuellement 3 stations de ravitaillement hydrogène également dans Paris, donc qui permettent d'alimenter cette flotte. Donc on voit que ça rentre petit à petit dans le public. Et puis un événement quand même important au niveau industriel. En 2017, la création de l'Hydrogen Council. Donc c'est un consortium d'un certain nombre de très grandes entreprises qui pensent que la société et la technologie est maintenant mûre pour introduire l'hydrogène de façon plus massive et qui s'est regroupé, donc c'était à Davos en 2017, pour créer ce conseil de l'hydrogène et tracer une feuille de route qui les porte jusqu'à 2050. Effectivement, l'idée, c'est de créer une feuille de route qui soit à la fois réaliste en termes d'investissement, mais de regarder aussi d'un point de vue économique quels peuvent être les retours, et puis de regarder ce qui reste encore à faire au niveau R&D pour arriver et infrastructure pour arriver à 2050 avec une quantité d'hydrogène qui représenterait en gros 18% de l'énergie utilisée dans le monde. C'est ça leur objectif. Ils tracent une feuille de route pour cet objectif. Donc je vous recommande vraiment d'aller voir leurs travaux, c'est très intéressant. Enfin, les États s'y mettent. Alors ça, j'ai parlé de la mobilité, j'ai parlé des industries. Ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, un certain nombre d'États commencent vraiment à s'intéresser à la technologie. Alors moi, j'ai eu la chance d'aller au Japon en avril. Donc je vous ai mis là quelques photos. Clairement, le Japon s'est engagé dans une stratégie basée sur l'hydrogène au niveau de sa production d'énergie. C'est d'abord pour des raisons vraiment stratégiques. C'est-à-dire qu'effectivement, après Fukushima et la baisse nécessaire du nucléaire au Japon, le Japon dépend de plus en plus des hydrocarbures et donc de pays qui ne sont pas forcément ses meilleurs amis et également avec lesquels il a une balance commerciale extrêmement déficitaire. Donc c'est un vrai problème. Et du coup, le Japon a décidé d'accélérer sa transition vers l'hydrogène et commence à développer pas mal de choses. Alors, ce qui est intéressant sur cette slide, c'est finalement la variété des images. Alors, vous avez tout à gauche en haut le JARI. C'est un centre d'essai communalisé entre tous les constructeurs nippons et dans lequel vous avez par exemple ce bâtiment-là qui est absolument gigantesque. Le mur fait plus d'1,20 m d'épaisseur qui permet de tester des feux et des explosions d'hydrogène. Donc ça, c'est pour développer tout l'aspect normatif autour de l'hydrogène. Vous avez MHPS, là au milieu, c'est des turbines à gaz. Alors ce qui est intéressant, c'est que le Japon s'intéresse à la mobilité, mais s'intéresse aussi à l'hydrogène pour le stationnaire. Et donc Mitsubishi Hitachi, qui a toute une industrie de turbines à gaz aujourd'hui, est en train de modifier ces turbines pour pouvoir brûler de l'hydrogène. Oui, et c'est quelque chose qui n'est pas complètement évident, donc il y a vraiment une recherche technologique autour de ça. En dessous, vous avez le port de Kobe, Kawasaki. C'est une installation industrielle d'une de ces fameuses turbines à hydrogène qui produit donc de l'électricité pour le port de Kobe. Donc c'est implanté dans le port. Ça veut dire que le Japon n'a aucune inquiétude au niveau sécurité et tout ce qui est nécessaire au niveau sécurité a pu être développé pour pouvoir implanter ça dans le port de Kobe. Voilà, donc c'est vraiment au milieu des autres installations. Et c'est là que tourne une turbine à gaz, hein, du style de celle que vous avez au milieu en haut sur l'image. Ça veut dire que vous avez deux très grands constructeurs qui sont impliqués dans les turbines à hydrogène, enfin hydrogène pour faire de l'électricité, c'est Kawasaki et MHPS. Donc on voit finalement le Japon qui met un certain nombre de briques industrielles en faveur de l'hydrogène pour développer sa technologie hydrogène. Également, vous avez l'université de Tokyo, vous avez Kawasaki qui pense aussi au futur. Donc on parlait des bateaux, il y a effectivement toute la question du transport de l'hydrogène. Donc on voit que le Japon commence aussi à se poser cette question-là avec des bateaux à hydrogène cryogénique pour 2030. Et vraiment, je trouve que cet exemple du Japon est emblématique parce que finalement, on a vu tout à l'heure qu'il y avait beaucoup de briques encore à travailler au niveau coût. Tout n'est pas prêt aujourd'hui, mais le Japon s'y lance finalement en disant on va déjà mettre en place tout ce qu'on peut mettre. Et puis aujourd'hui, l'hydrogène, il est fabriqué en Australie, pas de façon très propre, mais ça viendra. Et donc, ils anticipent déjà l'ensemble des briques qui seront nécessaires pour cette société dans laquelle l'hydrogène aura plus d'importance, on l'espère bientôt. D'autres États s'y mettent. Alors là, je ne vais pas commenter, mais très rapidement, la Corée, la Chine, l'Allemagne, la France maintenant avec le plan de Nicolas Hulot là, en juin. Tous ces États investissent aujourd'hui de plus en plus dans l'hydrogène pour accélérer le développement. Un point important pour la mobilité étant le développement des infrastructures et des stations de ravitaillement pour permettre de développer effectivement cette mobilité hydrogène. Alors maintenant, pourquoi est-ce que la CO s'y met? Je crois que Pierre l'a très bien dit tout à l'heure. Il y a vraiment un enjeu environnemental qui est très fort et la CO veut se positionner comme leader de la technologie hydrogène en sport automobile. Pourquoi en sport automobile? Parce que le sport vous pousse dans vos derniers retranchements, et notamment les 24 heures du Mans. Donc c'est la manière de tester ces technologies-là aux extrêmes et donc d'accélérer leur développement, d'accélérer les réalisations. C'est vraiment tout l'enjeu de cette mission H24. Ça permet également de favoriser l'acceptation par le public. On voyait tout à l'heure sur le petit film la voiture qui ravitaillait avec des gens qui étaient en chemise. Enfin, il n'y avait aucun stress autour de ce ravitaillement. Des personnalités qui étaient autour de cette voiture vraiment sans inquiétude. Donc c'est tout ça que peut véhiculer la compétition automobile pour une acceptation par le public. clairement, l'ambition de la CO s'adresse dans un cadre d'une mobilité multimodale. On voit qu'on peut avoir des applications en train, en camion, sur les avions. C'est toutes des mobilités dans lesquelles on a besoin de beaucoup de puissance, et c'est clairement ce qu'on développe au Mans. Et puis l'idée, c'est de s'appuyer sur de l'hydrogène vert, c'est-à-dire de l'hydrogène complètement décarboné. Voilà, toutes ces valeurs, elles sont traduites dans cette slide avec ces quelques photos. Mais on a déjà vu tout à l'heure le petit film qui était très, très explicite. Je vous remercie.
Merci Bernard. Donc vous voyez, pour répondre à Guillaume qui nous demandait si on était avant tout des organisateurs de courses et de pollueurs, non, l'Automobile Club de l'Ouest organise des courses, effectivement, mais avec un enjeu. L'enjeu, c'est la mobilité. On est là pour parler de la mobilité du futur, et c'est tout à fait la voie dans laquelle s'engage l'Automobile Club de l'Ouest. Voilà, je vous remercie, et je vous invite à passer voir cette très belle voiture, ce très beau prototype qui est juste derrière vous au fond.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Bernard and Pierre, thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to announce the winner of the special awards, Startup Awards we had a little bit earlier on, all about electrification and hybridization as well. We heard 8 different startups, 8 different big ideas here on stage, and our jury members, they've been, over the last 20 minutes or so, they've been in a secret location deciding who will walk away winner, the main winner of this beautiful award here. It's actually a 3D printed award. Underneath here is actually the winner's name. I'm not going to pull that off right now, in fact, but underneath there is actually a screen, a digital screen, and the whole award becomes a digital box of delights. I'm not quite sure what it does, but it's more than just an award you can put on your shelf. Right, I think it's time now to invite back the president of the jury, who responsible for the jury members, and he's going to come back on stage and tell us a little bit more about what he does, and also the process on how they decided who the winner is. Please welcome back to the stage Global Director of Product Management at Driveline Systems, Magna Powertrain, Magna International, Mr. Walter Sackel. Right, you're back. You're back. We have a winner. Before we find out who the winner is, maybe tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and how it's connected, certainly, to the theme of what we have now.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. First, I'm from Magna. Magna is the 3rd largest Tier 1 company in the automotive industry. So actually, we are producing almost everything for cars. For this industry. However, we are also very much in the business of powertrain, driveline systems, and propulsion systems. And with that, we are also committed to the future. As I mentioned in the beginning, in the early morning, 2016, we all committed here in Paris to the UN Convention of Limitation of Global Warming. There is a challenging future in front of us with respect to the changes in that industry. However, the next 10 years will decide about who one is the winner and the loser in that industry, and we will be on the forefront, that's for sure. So we're very much committed to innovation, improvements, and sustainability.
I saw as the startups were sharing their ideas, some interesting questions from a jury and certainly from yourself as well. Tell us, we found a winner. You've got to the winning stage. How was the process? Was it an easy process? Were there debates, arguments? How did it go? How was it?
So first we made our shortlist. Finally, it were then 2 on the shortlist, which were very close to each other. I would say not a real battle. However, we had a long debate about these 2 finalists. And ultimately, I would say, from my perspective, we were very much focusing on the deciding element of the customer satisfaction of the future. So what's the future deciding element for our consumers, for the vehicles, for the transportation of the future, in this whole vertical integration and modularization of the future. So what are the key elements in terms of customer satisfaction? This was finally then, yeah, ultimately where this finalist made it ultimately.
Right. Okay. So before we find out the winner, just let me explain once again that the winner of the week. So we have 8 different startup award competitions throughout the week. This is number 7. In fact, number 7. This afternoon, we have number 8, and then this evening at 6:30, all of the winners throughout the week of all of the 8 themed topics will come together and they will pitch for the grand prize, for the Mondial Tech Grand Prize pitching competition. And at the end of that, we will find out who is actually the overall winner of the Mondial Tech Startup competition. But before we do that, let's find out exactly who the winner is of this section. So, without further ado, for the winner of the Electrification and Hybridization Startup Award competition, Walter, over to you. Tell us who it is.
Yeah, again, so what's the deciding factor of the future? When I started my career as a mechanical engineer, it was just mechanics. This year, I would say in the powertrain segment, we are already on the tipping point. So more than 50% of our engineers are dedicated to electrics, electronics, and software and controls. However, the future deciding element is software controls and electronics. This is where really the competition happens. This is where the deciding element on functions are embedded into. So, yeah, the winner is Silicon Mobility.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Silicon Mobility.
Yes, that is the sound created by the musical invasion of America by the world's hottest recording group.
So there we have it, Silicon Mobility, the winner of the Electrification and Hybridization Startup Competition, proudly taking his award there. At this stage, what we will do as well, please invite back the other members of the jury on stage. Please, a round of applause for all our jury members as well. And a last photograph together with our lucky winner. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please, once again, put your hands together for Silicon Mobility, the winner of this section. So you, my friend, you are in the final, the big final tonight at 6:30 with all the other winners of all the other themes as well. Hoping perhaps you'll get to, not perhaps, hoping you will win the grand prize this evening. Absolutely. Right, ladies and gentlemen, what we will do now, we will have a break. This is a lunch break, a chance for you to go off and get something to eat, something to drink. We will be back here this afternoon at 2:45 back here on this stage for some more Mondial Tech 2018.